Oh, we are actually going. Okay, give me 1 second. There we go. We should be live. And now, hello everyone, I'm Iron Phoenix and welcome to Hydroneer, a game that appears to be so obscure that YouTube doesn't actually know what it is. I've typed an awful lot of very obscure games into that little thing before, and I have never had YouTube say, oh, that game doesn't... Did you mean hydrophobia? No, I did not mean hydrophobia. I mean, how on earth do you know hydrophobia and not this? Hydrophobia was an incredibly obscure game, and not very good. The water physics was its selling point, but the game itself was a bit weak. I think I've done that on this channel before. Fantastic game if you want to just kind of disconnect your mind a bit and turn it 90 degrees and just kind of enjoy it for what it is. It's not necessarily a great game that YouTube should automatically know. I mean, I bet that if I typed Stormrise into there, it would know what I'm talking about. But for some reason, no, not this game. Doesn't know what this game is. Anyway, welcome to Hydroneer. A game about... Oh god, this is happening. It's all happening again. There we go. No, it's not fixed yet. Hold on. Yeah, that might work now. I'm having some problems. So, when last we saw this game, I might have got to the first machine? I can't remember. In any case, I will talk about my setup. So what I've got is 2 inlet pipes hooked up into a big pipe. I've got a water pressurizer, which is full of water, so that's good. That basically beefs up the pressure in the system by 25% for each one, as long as it's powered. And then I've got this thing that basically just digs out surface dirt and throws it in front of it. At which point it bulks up. It'll bulk up for the second one. There we go. And it'll roll onto the belt. And then it goes into this thing, which minces it up, turns it into little pellets of ore, which end up going through the hopper, or in this case not, as the case may be. This is very much your Sellafield style of collecting ore here, where you just basically throw it into a pit and hope for the best. Goes onto the conveyor belt, which goes all the way up here, and then it goes into this one. All the gold gets taken out of the line and taken up that one, and then it goes into this one, and any iron that's left gets taken up into this chute, and then they drop into these crucibles, which are currently on. And then every so often I need to go and get... I need to get a new mould because my mould has gone wandering. Thank you. And then I can turn this into ingots. Now, what I'm planning on doing today is, well, just basically improving this system. This system's okay, certainly. I need to get another conveyor belt to pull this one out a bit, just because of this sort of mess here. What I need to do, I think, is just put in a couple of wall pieces up here, and generally just improve the system. There is some conveyor belt stuff which I think I need here, because this system just keeps getting stuck. I think if this bit gets too big, then it just then it just can't go into there, which means I've got all these rocks everywhere. But what I want to do is get another gold bar and get a... I need to get a magnet as well, because what on earth is that doing in here? Yeah, some things, bits of dirt and the like, sort of get stuck every so often. I need to get another conveyor belt for that system over there as well. But, and more walls so that I can get this out of it. See, that is just not going to go in. I have been sort of manually breaking the... sleep, we get day. The rocks every so often when it gets a bit too crazy up here. I have actually been manually breaking the rocks, but I think we can do better. So yeah, this is my current setup. It works. Ultimately, it does do the job. I just need to extend this one out a bit, so that the reason why I've got this on here is because water is going to come through because this system is on to allow the conveyor belts to run, and it was just annoying me, so I just put the valve on here. Really, I need a conveyor belt in here, and then probably what I'll probably do is take it up one, put another one of these on, so that we are splitting out all the gems, and then we'll take that up by 2, so that we can then stick it through a hopper and then down. Basically, I want to get this system reasonably working before I start modifying it. This is essentially my test bed, which I can play with to a certain degree to try and get it to function properly. I'm not completely certain why these boulders are getting too big, for example. Now, I think they're probably getting a little bit caught up with here. So maybe in the next iteration of this, we could actually just drop them down now, actually, thinking about it. Because this probably doesn't need the drop. I'm going to turn off the system and I'm going to fiddle with this a bit. We've got the money too. In fact, I've probably got the money too, just scattered around on the floor at the moment. But let's just get these over here for a second. What I don't like about this game, okay, there are quite a few things that I don't like about the game, and an awful lot of the things that I don't like about the game are all to do with it's like, it's not bad, it's not necessarily bad stuff, it's just awkward stuff more than anything. It's right, okay, what do I need to do? I need my pickaxe. So I can just dig a trench here. Okay, let's drop that down. So we're gonna put a thing in there. I'm gonna need a new I'm going to need a new piece to just hook those two together. Don't think I've got a spare one. Nah, don't have a spare one. Yeah, so an awful lot of my issues with the game currently are as a result of user interaction. The game itself is fine. It's you know, quite a fun little, quite simplistic automation builder. You know, if you wanted to kind of get into factory builders, but you were a little bit daunted by some of the ones out there, this would probably be quite a good starting point if the game was working a little bit better, because at the moment it is a little on the janky side. That's a lot better. Okay. Except that won't fall off the edge, because it does need to drop. Well, you know, this was a sort of an experiment. What I'm starting to believe is I kind of need to rebuild this to be an awful lot better. Oh, that does work, sort of, in a weird, very, very janky way. That does actually work. You just need to have enough effort, and then it kind of gets squished down. But actually now, because of this, I can do larger boulders, which is nice. Because I do have some quite large boulders lying around. So it would be nice if I can do that thing. No, that one is apparently too large. That one, however, is probably about large enough. Maybe not. But yeah, it's working. It's a bit janky, but it does work. Excellent. Right, so next on my list, I need more gold. So gold is here. What I would also quite like from the game is some signage. Reasonably minor thing when there's actually other far more important issues to deal with, such as when picking up things like this, you can pick it up with a button press. I would quite like there to be a press and hold action for that, so that when you tap it, you don't accidentally pick up the whole thing if you were actually aiming for one of these little bits. Having a 2-second delay on there is long enough time for you to almost confirm that you do actually want to pick up that item. So an awful lot of my problems with the game aren't necessarily problems with the game, but more problems with how the player is interacting with the game. And that is like the world's smallest ingot. Right, so while that is doing that, because the system seems to be actually an awful lot happier now I've made that modification, what I would quite like is a new small furnace. I don't think I can quite afford it. No, not yet. That's fine. I can improvise by just doing... No, bad ingot. Damn it, where did that go? There we go. Just rest them on top of here. Sort of. There we go. Rest them on top of there. While I find an interesting looking gem. This one will do. So we go over here, we turn that into a gem, to a cut gem. Go over to here. Oh, I've already got a gem on there, that's fine. I've already sorted that out. So we put that on there. They do actually need to be on the on here, otherwise it won't work. And then we just need to run and get our hammer. Very, very simple process. You do that. That makes that. I put that back on the rack because otherwise it'll get lost. I should really put all my tools on the rack because I've already lost a pickaxe. Just sort of fell through the floor. Oh, also lost an anvil, which was a bit weird. Yeah, there we go. That's the example of me picking up the wrong thing multiple times. And now that is going to go through the system unless I've just kind of got to clear the system off every so often. So now we can go and sell the necklace, and hopefully I'll get a good price for it as well. Because there are some things I want to buy. Okay, so 705 at the jeweler. Sometimes I can get a better price. No. If that was up, then I would get a better price from the stock market, but it's down, so I need to sell here. I get 705 for that. That is perfect. And now I can go for a short drive, though I will shut the system down because the system's not working properly at the moment. So I would quite like to get the system working properly before I just sort of go away and leave it. So yes, the way I shut down the system, I've got a manual thing there. and then that system is all now shut down, and it won't actually do anything more. And so now we can go for a little bit of a drive. Now I've got to be a bit careful with this thing. I've got it stuck before. It's very low center of gravity, and it can get jammed. But in just a second. Yeah. So yeah. So let's. Yeah. So yeah. Sorry. Yeah. It's got a very low center of gravity, and yeah. So yeah, it can get stuck on sort of cliffs and the like. So just be a little bit careful with it. Thankfully, it runs on water, which water seems to be everywhere. Thankfully. Not that I've actually topped it up yet, and I probably should top it up at some point, considering I can't actually see where the water level is anymore. That's probably a bad sign, so I'll top it up at some point. Not right now though, that's fine. Some of the key buttons are a bit weird as well. It's like, okay, tool actions are left mouse button. Interact with things with an empty hand is E, but getting into a vehicle is Q. Yeah. So a few just sort of odd design decisions with this, which, you know, unifying the system would be useful. See, it's this. This is the one that I'm interested in, but I don't know how it works. Certainly water in, water out, but is it going to... Maybe for longer lines that would be more useful. I'm going to grab one of those anyway. Yeah, someone talk about genetic defects in Space Marines of, you know, oh, it's problematic. I've got connection. I'm not sure that YouTube is feeling very healthy today, because it just decided, oh, you got no connection. I'm still connected. I haven't dropped any frames. Oh, that has reset, so I don't know if there was an issue. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. I'm still here, moaning about life online. Yeah, so actually I could shrink that down, get another conveyor belt out of it. What are we at? Yeah, we're at 588. Okay, so that'd probably be enough for now to get this. Might shrink that down. Oh, do I want a... oh god, physics. Physics in this game is usually quite good, but there's some odd moments of jank. Yeah, so no, if you've not been keeping up with the lore, it's fantastic, because it's like, it's Ultramarines are, yeah, so Ultramarines are like your basic Space Marine. And there's nothing special about them. They are just, you know, all round okay. And then you've got the others, and an awful lot of the other ones did not have stable gene seed at all. And so you have things like the salamanders who their skin is as black as coal as a result of a genetic mutation, which ultimately is quite good for them because they I think it's Nocturne is a volcanic world, so it's very hot, and so dark skin is very good for those sorts of conditions. Whereas you have things like I think certain aspects of the some of the Raven Guard did go a little bit crazy. God, I can't remember. It's like there's some sort of successor chapters as well that have got some very extreme mutations. Some to the point where they are actually deemed as they're basically they're down as renegade legions. So they are not chaos. They are still loyal to the Emperor, but the Inquisition have declared them they're shot on sight. So this huge, fantastic world, and all that an awful lot of people know of the Space Marines is the Ultramarines, because that's the only ones that ever get put into games, and it's a real shame. Personally, I'm more of a fan of the Blood Angels. They have fangs. They are essentially vampires. They partake in a ritual that basically they drink the blood of their Primarch, sort of ish, before each battle, and then but it's part of a test to wean out those who are showing too much bloodlust, because eventually every Blood Angel is going to go mad, and there's two types of mad when dealing with just deal with this entire system, as the whole thing needs to be done. There's two types of mad when it comes to Blood Angels. There's mad in the sense that they suffer from a bloodlust. These Space Marines are painted with they paint their armour black, and they serve in the Death Company in that battle. Survivors may go on to fight many more battles until the bloodlust takes them over completely, at which point they enter the second phase of insanity for Blood Angels, which they get incarcerated. Basically, they get locked up in the Space Marine Insane Asylum, essentially a Blood Angel Insane Asylum, I should say. Note, I think it's called the Dark Tower or something. These are Space Marines who cannot fight anymore, not because they are crippled, but because their mind is gone. There's no sense of self left in them. All that matters is violence and bloodlust. They can't be fielded because they're as much of a danger to themselves as they are of their companions. They will literally lash out at anything nearby, friend or foe. It doesn't matter to them because they can't see that anymore. And so you've got this, and so it's quite funny when you also look at the downtime of the Blood Angels, which is art and poetry and preparing for the time when they're no longer needed, essentially, because and that was all part of the Blood Angels' philosophy of one day the Blood Angels will no longer be needed. They will not be needed as fighters anymore. So what do? So as part of their lore, they paint and they do art and all this sort of thing, which I think is fabulous, and very sort of indicative of that sort of lore, where you've got some very crazy factions, I have to say. but yeah, they are actually, you know, they have a severe mental problem in the Blood Angels. But yeah, so. But yeah, some of the ones are great. They've got the Exorcists, which are a successor chapter to the Grey Knights. So the Grey Knights are the Space Marines that are designed from, I think their gene seed is Ultramarine because it's the most stable. So that, I think they're technically a successor chapter of their own, but like a second founding. But yeah, so they're so the Grey Knights are basically the ones that fight demons, and their armor is specially imbued with sort of rites and sigils and the like, to make sure that they can continue their holy duty of ridding the world, or ridding the universe from chaos. It's all very, all very metal. But yeah, so the Exorcists are the successor to that. They were designed to be something else. They're a bit of an odd one, but yeah, basically all the Space Marines that serve in the Exorcists have been hosts to demons. So there is a room that they go into where they are exposed to the warp, and they are possessed by demons for a short time, and then an exorcism is done on them. And then they go on to serve, I believe, as scouts, and then eventually they've got quite a lot of scout divisions because the amount of the Space Marines that die in training is huge. But end of the day, they get the best Space Marines for fighting chaos, because they can't be affected by certain psychic abilities that look for things like souls, because they don't have any. So that's quite a fun one as well. Right, okay. Let's turn the system on. Ugh. What is that? Actually, let's not turn the system on. Not yet. Let's just make sure that I've made some things. I could actually make this dagger, actually, or the axe, sorry. So similar thing, just need to change this to that. Really, I need to put the put it down next to here, but for the moment, this is fine. So we take these. I need to build a proper smithy, I think. That might be my next sort of big job. Let's take this axe up this way. Because they've got a stock market up here, just over this bridge, and so they'll buy axes sometimes at a slightly better rate. So it's always worth just checking the stock markets to see if axes are up. They are down 30. How much for it? 562. I could probably get a better price at the jeweler. Because the jeweler will always pay a certain sort of a flat rate, depending on the quality of the item. Essentially, quality of the item tends to be how much metal you've put into it. So it will sort of fluctuate depending on how much material you have actually used to make an item. But I'm just running around here with an axe at the moment. So that was about 562, which would be perfect because I need to get a new furnace. A new furnace? Yeah, it was a new furnace, wasn't it? And then we will see what we can make. Certainly, certainly there's not much point in making the axes and the rings anymore, because I'm to the point now where, well, really I need to beef up my gold production, but we'll sort that out. Right. Right, so now we've got that. So we've kind of got a little bit of a smithy going on here. Though I thought I'd turn the system on. I didn't. Well, the system's on now. As I said, the dripping can get a little irritating, so it's worth just making sure that those systems are off. That one's on. That's pointing the wrong way. That won't be great, but what I want to do is get a proper belt up there, and then we should all be good. One thing I want to do while this system's running, I'm just going to wander away from it, which is probably a terrible idea, but what I want to do is I want to check out some of these other areas, some of these other dig sites. So apparently if I go straight down the road, there's like some huge one, which might be worth taking over. Let's just go for a walk. I don't need to take the truck with me. And the system will just sort of run now, or it'll get bogged up with loose debris. But I am interested in these sites to see what like the water access is like, essentially, and how big they are, and quite what I can do with them. So I think I do need a bigger site, because what I want to do is put in basically a much larger version of what I've got back there, but built properly. So I'll first build a proper sort of smithy, and yeah, I've got a sort of a mental idea of what it is that I want to do. I'm going to go down to this one first, I think. Because what I want to do is I want to have, and ultimately there should be an input. Ooh, okay, for sale. Oh, you can't just. Okay, so you have to buy. This is basically from what I can gather, the guy who made this game saw Gold Rush and wanted to make something similar, but with a little bit more freedom. That's kind of what I'm getting from this, and actually he's done a really good job of it. This is not an expensive thing. Also bringing the costs of stuff down, or at least, you know, putting the more games like this is that they're always good. You know, there's nothing really that complicated about this game at all, just like there's nothing really complicated about Gold Rush. Gold Rush is one of those games which is incredibly jank, all over the place, but it's a fun game as long as you can ignore the jankiness of it. You know, it's actually quite a good sort of simulator. So, how much is this one? Oh, this one's huge, and that looks like a water source down there. Quite a small one, so this may be a bit of a challenge in that you get that amount of water to play with. But you do get quite a lot of land to do something with. Interesting. What I would probably do is buy that other one. But not yet. I need to I think I need to build my prototype essentially at that first one, and then sort of work up from there. Yeah, I think that's the way to do it. And replace my systems with like Goliath drills. I think that might be my next upgrade, actually, using the Goliath drill, because that apparently goes deeper. So the one I've got at the moment does only surface dirt, whereas the Goliath drills downwards, as it were. And downwards you get sort of better loot, which I would hope is larger gold ingots. But before I do that, I kind of need to make sure that my system is actually capable of handling it. And part of what I'm thinking is that maybe my dirt line needs to be longer. So, but there's no way of splitting things in this game. And normally you would just say, okay, I'll just put a splitter or a turntable on it. But I can't do that. Can I? No, I don't think there's a conveyor splitter in this game, which is disappointing, to say the least. Well, okay. What I think I first need to do is build a smithy, probably around here, so that I can start getting these various things sort of condensed. This is quite a good prototype of the system. Yeah, this stuff is just getting way too big, and then it can't do anything with it. Well, we have... I'm sure we've got enough gold to do this by now as well. I mean, my smithy doesn't even need to go anywhere. Thinking about it. You can just literally just go on here. I might need to take a pickaxe to some of the terrain, but there needs to be a lot more unification with, you know, so if I'm picking up a tool, then it needs to always be on E. Yeah. I can't actually modify this terrain because I don't think it's technically modifiable. Okay, so I would probably need to build the smithy over here, and then just then just deal with it basically. Right, I need to do need pickaxe because I do need to break these rocks down. Let's see. It's like, let's see. No, there, no, there. Right. Oh, for goodness sake. Just need to get some of this clear. Every so often I just do one of these just to get rid of the all the boulders that I've sort of accumulated. And you know, it's one of some of those ones where you just kind of drop them and hope that they crunch up. But yeah, so yeah, we need to work on making this system work a little better. Be nice if these sort of pushed over the edge, and they don't, unless it's dropping it. I don't know. I think there needs to be something here. It's God. Oh, for God's sake, no. Just put that there. It's quite nice actually, just kind of seeing in 3D all this stuff still just working. Mostly. I think my next purchase is actually going to be one of those magnets, which might help the problems that I'm having with some of the ores. Yeah, also having that conveyor belt that breaks up this stuff, because then what I can do is I can have a secondary line that kind of comes in here that breaks stuff up, and then drops it in here. You know, if something gets too big, I can just put it on that line. It can break it up and then drop it in there. Yeah. I've actually been going on for about 40 minutes now, and I'm thinking that now would really be quite a good time to end the video. The game is not... I did certainly want to do a bit of a follow-up, because obviously the first video going in, I really didn't have any of the toys. I hadn't really seen much of the game, which is kind of what happens when you go in blind. I have seen more of the game now, and what I would say about it is that it is, you know, I enjoy it. You know, it's a good game, if a little frustrating in places, because of the user experience is not. It's not great. I think that's the thing that's really letting it down at the moment, is the fact that from a user point of view, the game is not well put together. UI wise, sort of controls are janky, but I think the big one for me is that it's too easy for you to pick up something that you did not intend to pick up, which can be quite disastrous if you accidentally pick up a conveyor belt while work is being done to, you know, while the machines are on. You don't really want to pick up the conveyor belts, because it's just going to cause mess. And it's not mess that you necessarily made. It was basically the game's fault for not preventing you from picking up something that you actually shouldn't be able to pick up so quickly. The fact that I can just do that, I think, is a little bit over the top. And then actually putting it back in it's weird. It's one of those situations where it's one of those it's actually harder to put something back than it is to put it in the first place. So it's harder. Yeah. So you pick it up very, very easily, and then it's actually quite difficult to put it back in the place that you took it from, because now you've got all this mess that you've got to clean up. So yeah, there's that. I think that is pretty much that all cleaned up. That's a cork. What's that? That's a nodule. So yeah, what I would think I would do is probably have a rock breaking house. Yes, I think that's where I'm headed now. Is actually building. So you can build buildings in this, sort of. You get piece kits basically. Make another one of these, and then find my hammer. And then we have this wonderful sapphire, which I am going to go and sell and not leave the system running, because it's just going to get backed up again, and then all that work I did for will be for naught. Right, how much for this? Nice. So 15.20 for that. Okay, Going to the jeweler. I'm going to go to the shops now, I think. Now I have all this juicy money. I'm going to walk, I think. Actually, I may as well take the car. Though, one thing I will do is kind of see if I can top it up. It does seem to be getting a bit low. How does this work? Oh, I've got a thing on the side that says, okay, so it's about half full at the moment. Okay, yeah, you just literally, okay, so in theory I could just build like a water tower, and then just fill it up like that if I wanted to. Okay, well, let's go for a drive. Up to the shop. Specifically, obviously we've been to the other shop. Specifically, I want to go to the building shop to look at the building supplies. There's all kinds of things that you can buy in there. As you can see, it's a bit of a pain to turn around, and yeah, it's fine. Yeah. So yeah, I want to. Unfortunately, the flatbed is quite small on this, and it may just end up that I have to walk home with some bits and pieces of building material. But it is at least quicker to drive. Okay, we are in. Right. Okay. So housing's the one. Just drop that into there. Okay, so I can buy a whole load of things like tool racks, some wooden stairs, that would be useful. Large wooden foundations, large walls, large wood floor. Ooh. Okay, so I can just get a straight wood floor as well. Some thatch, some windows. Different styles. Oh, concrete floors. Interesting. What else do we have? I think that's it, actually. Or tin sheets. Ah! Great for channeling resources. Yeah, they would be good for channeling resources. Put that, ooh, yeah. Brain is suddenly sparked into life here a bit. So if I had dirt in general, moving up into a trough where you've got the eaty things, that would sort of force the dirt, hopefully, in the direction that I want it to. One of those points that I just need to stretch, and it was wonderful and stretchy. I got paint as well, and a table. Last time I tried to buy a table, I tried to put it into the flatbed, as you do, and it spun out and it went over there, and I never saw it again. The physics can be a bit jank, as I've said, but Yeah, that's given me, I think, some food for thought, certainly. The large wooden foundation is 40, but it's 2x2. So why is the wooden and the concrete one only 5? And that's harder to transport as well. In fact, this large wood floor is 40 as well. It's all going to need a little bit more thought, I think. I think I'm going to end this video here, moving up to the hour mark after all. You've seen quite a lot, I think, of what the game is. There is another shop just down here. We'll just quickly visit. Yeah, the fancy furniture shop, which sells, well, fancier furniture, but that's not for me yet. I need to get my systems running properly before I deal with that. But yeah, I think I'm going to end this video here. So with that, I will